Do you ever feel like you keep dating the exact same toxic person, just wearing a different body? It is easy to dismiss this as bad luck, but when the same destructive patterns show up in partner after partner, it suggests the common denominator isn't the people we're meeting. There is a set of internal mechanics at work that steer us toward the same outcomes before a relationship even begins. Achieving a real connection requires us to step back and map out these mental traps, identifying exactly how they hijack our choices so we can finally dismantle them. Finding love feels harder today because the environment has changed. Historically, you chose from a small, local pool. Today, digital dating provides a nearly infinite range of options. This chart illustrates the paradox of choice. We assume more variety is better, but we make optimal decisions with fewer variables. When flooded with hundreds of alternatives, finding the best option becomes statistically difficult. Constant comparison subtracts from the satisfaction of your final choice. Because of this paradox, having more choices practically guarantees a sense of regret once you finally commit to a partner. Once a relationship begins, the brain triggers a new set of filters. During the honeymoon phase, both people are temporarily operating on their absolute best behavior, hiding their flaws. This diagram shows the halo effect. It's a cognitive bias where one intense, early positive emotion creates an expanding halo of positive thoughts that colors our entire perception of the other person. This glow is a mental blindfold. The halo actively tricks the brain into erasing red flags that would otherwise be obvious, allowing toxic traits to go unnoticed until they are already deeply rooted. This temporary blindness is the mechanism that allows a repetitive cycle to establish itself in secret. To find the root of this blindness, we have to look into the unconscious. Author Robert Greene explains that our repetitive partner choices are often driven by parts of ourselves we don't even recognize. We all have a mix of masculine and feminine qualities. However, to fit into the roles expected of us, we often suppress certain aspects of our own characters. When we fall in love, we lose emotional control, and these repressed needs are projected onto our partners. We stop seeing the person in front of us and start seeing a reflection of what we lack. For example, a woman raised by a strict father may have suppressed her own need for independence. As an adult, she might project that lovable rebel archetype onto toxic partners who have a disdain for authority, chasing the freedom she was never allowed to have. Alternatively, someone might pursue an imperfect or fallen partner in an attempt to play the savior. They believe they are helping, but they are often just being used as a pawn in a cycle they can't control. In these moments, you aren't actually dating a new person. You are being driven by a demon deep within yourself to date your own unresolved childhood wounds. When these initial projections eventually fade, the relationship meets its final hurdle. Author Miguel Ruiz argues that making assumptions is the primary cause of relationship drama. We frequently assume we know what our partner wants without ever asking. We move through the relationship based on a guess rather than a conversation. This escalates when we see red flags but assume we have the power to fix them. We convince ourselves we can mold a partner into our ideal image, ignoring who they actually are. If you are trying to change someone, it means you do not love the real person. You only love the projection. When that projection fails to meet reality, the relationship inevitably collapses. Real love requires accepting another person exactly as they are. It is far more effective to find someone who already fits your needs than to spend years trying to alter another human being. Reaching this state starts with ignoring the paradox of choice. You have to commit to the person in front of you and stop letting the hypothetical better options on a screen subtract from your current satisfaction. Next, audit your history. By identifying your specific gender projections, you can ensure that childhood wounds are no longer the ones choosing your partners. Finally, replace assumptions with direct, courageous questions. When you hear the truth from your partner's own mouth, you no longer have to guess what they need or who they are. By adopting these mental models, the ghosts of the past stop dictating the present. You can finally stop the cycle of emotional poison and build a relationship based on clarity and real acceptance.